Hey guys, I want to talk to you today about mental health and acknowledging and accepting what mental health is, what it means to you, what it means to me in my life. I've shared that I suffer from depression and anxiety, and it has been a very difficult past 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I started the semester. This is my final year in school to get my undergrad. I started the semester really excited because I was in this adolescent program in Michigan State. Only 48 psychology students got into the program, and I was one. The head of the psychology program is my mentor, and my professor I have adopted as my other mentors. So I was really excited, at the beginning of the semester to, just get right in there. I'm almost done. I'm going to have my degree. Yes, and then I got the phone call about the investigation with my eldest son that it was unsubstantiated. And so I'm talking about mental health because the impact that this fight for my child's mental health and well-being has affected me to the point to where I have had to come to terms with I cannot handle school at this point. I went and I spoke with a social worker here on campus. She is one of the people on my teams. I discussed, I have a team to help me stay sane. Well, when I got the phone call about the investigation, I went and I called her. I was a wreck. I was bawling in tears. I felt defeated at the moment. I was overwhelmed. I'm getting a little bit emotional right now just talking about it because it's when you know that someone is not doing their job, and when it is your child that you are fighting for, I was just enraged. I was like so mad because I know you did not do what you were supposed to do. This is my son's life. And you go and you investigate something, and I cannot even describe how it feels to face people continuously being insulted, having them roll their eyes at you, having them upset that you just want them to do what what they should do. I'm not asking for anything special. I'm not asking for anything more for my child than what he's supposed to receive. But when you are raising children, I have four, when you are raising children and you are trying to live
and be an example for them. And you are trying to live your life in a way where you want to rise above all of the mess in this world. I want to rise above that. I want to live above that. I look at my son and people just don't get what he has been through. My son has been through so much. To be violated, I think about how my son has been violated. At such a young age, it doesn't even matter what age, to have someone violate you, it changes your whole life. And to look at my young soul, look at my young prince, he is such a good person. My son is such a good person. He has such a good heart. I raised him. I look at him. He speaks well. He's very intelligent. He's respectful. He knows how to carry himself. I never let him walk the streets. I speak to him. I teach him about his history. He was so excited to go to the Black Panther event with me, and just like all of this knowledge, that I'm around. And I look at my son, and he's growing up, and he's a young man now. And for this man to call me and tell me that my claims are unsubstantiated, and I know he didn't do his job, it ripped me. Like that was it. Like at that point, emotionally, mentally, I was done. And I had to take a couple of weeks. It took me a couple of weeks. Like I know in some previous posts, I stated, I kind of had like a small mental breakdown. Well, it was impactful. And so that's why I wanted to discuss mental health, because even though I'm continuing on the fight, because I'm not a quitter. See, you have to understand like mental health and our traits. I'm highly susceptible to like disappointments. I'm highly susceptible to depression. So when okay, even though I'm depressed about this, and when you are depressed, it's difficult for you to get up and do things. It's difficult for some people to get up and get out of bed. Like for me, it's really difficult for me to wake up in the morning. I have insomnia at night, or I have insomnia, so I'm up all night. And then in the morning, once I do get to sleep, and then in the morning when the alarm clock goes off and the kids are up, it's just like, oh my goodness, I have to pull myself out of bed. But it's the conscientiousness in me. I have a high level of conscientiousness. I took the personality score. I had throughout classes you take these different tests to learn yourself so that you can understand. So my conscientiousness, my trait for that trait is very high in me. So I'm not gonna give up. That keeps me moving. Like the love for my son, the injustice of the situation. This is injustice. So I'm fighting against that. And I'm not gonna quit. But for my mental health, at this moment, the impact that this last blow had on me, because of the fight that I've been through. Like, if you guys could see my doctor's records, like, it has been this last year and a half has been like really, 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 really crazy for me. So, I can't handle school right now. And it's so, so, so disappointing at it's disappointing to say, but I am proud of myself because years ago, let's say 3 years ago, let's say last year, oh my goodness, last year, if I had to quit school, I would have been, oh my goodness, devastated. But because I continue to go see my doctors, because I continue to go to therapy, because when different things happen and my therapist is not available, I speak to the social worker on campus, because I acknowledge that I have depression, because I acknowledge that I have anxiety, I know my triggers. I know when I need to go speak with someone. I know that I need to take my medications. Therefore, when situations like this come about, and I'm in my final year, I'm in this prestigious program, it is my mentor's program that I'm in, and I have to quit that one first. But then I'm still working with my mentors. Like all of these things affects my mental health, and I'm advocating for my son. So, and evaluating me and evaluating my mental health and evaluating my situation and looking at the fact that I have 4 classes that I have to take, and I'm, oh my goodness, OCD obsessive about my grades. I'm not going to I don't get less than a 3 points. So it's just like in evaluating all of that, I'm like, this is just not possible. So I dropped my first class, which was the adolescent program. Then I dropped the second class because it was very demanding. Now I have 2 classes left. I meet with the dean this coming Tuesday, and like I just been thinking about it this weekend. I was thinking about it. Like I saw my therapist on Friday, and I was speaking to her about it, and I was letting her know, listen, I have an exam next week, and she said, no, you're not taking that exam. And she's so right, because it's all of everything that I think about right now is about going to get my child. So in order to make that happen, I have to eliminate the stressors in my life so that I can be my best for my children. Because it's not just about me going to get my eldest, it's also about me caring for my younger three and attending to my 7-year-old who is struggling to adapt. He is at the point where he does not respect a single soul in that school. An adult will tell him something that they'll say, Jock, you need to go back to class, and he'll say no. Like there's no one at the school that that he even respects. So how is it that I am supposed to continue on and get my education when 2 out of 4 of my children are in a crisis situation? I'm a single parent. I'm the only adult here, you know? And so like I said, saying that I have to stop my classes for this semester is like, it's disappointing to hear, but at the same time, like I have a smile on my face right now because at the same time, as I'm speaking, I am realizing how much I've grown. My pastor is my spiritual father. That man has walked with me from the beginning of my very first nervous breakdown when I was first diagnosed with depression. I called him. I was in Arizona and he was there. And I haven't spoken to him. I've texted him to let him know like the current situation, but like it does bring tears because I know he would be so proud of me to see me being able to make the choices for myself in my life so that my mental health can stay stable, you know? So it's important for us who do suffer from mental illnesses. It's very important for us to acknowledge them. Don't be ashamed of the fact that you have depression. Don't be ashamed of the fact that you have anxiety. Don't be ashamed of the fact that you have bipolar. Don't be ashamed of the fact that you are OCD. Acknowledge it. Whatever the diagnosis is, acknowledge it. You control the diagnoses. Do not allow the diagnoses to control you. If I were to allow my diagnoses to control me, I would continue this semester. I would have not dropped any of my classes. I would have stressed myself out to the point to where my whole body would be shaking. And I'm saying this and I'm telling you guys this because this happened to me this spring semester. I worked so hard and I refused to quit my classes. I was so stressed out. I was advocating for my son, fighting with the facility, just realizing where my son was, the environment that he was in, the people that he was around, and people who know me knows that anything unjust, if you are not a respectable person, like my son is in the care of these people and I see what's going on in this facility, and what's going on in this facility is not up to my standard for my child. Now, anyone who's watching can take that however they want to. So with me dealing with all of that and me refusing to drop classes, I was allowing my diagnoses to control me. And I got to the point to where my friends came. I was in class and I was shaking. I was shaking really bad, sitting down. Like my legs were shaking. I couldn't stop them. And so I had a doctor's appointment. I called my doctor. I go to the doctors on campus. So I called the van to pick me up. I was on my cane. And I went into my doctor's office and she said, I'm going to send you to University of Michigan. So I called my friends, tried to, I have children, they're in school, I'm in East Lansing, they're in Detroit, and I need to get to Ann Arbor. So I called my friends up, and so they, they ended up driving up to get me. And when they saw me, they didn't have the conversation with me. While I was at the hospital, they had the conversation amongst themselves and my pastor. And they decided that they were not bringing me back to East Lansing. That's how bad my body was broken down. So I ended up they refused to bring me back. At first I was upset. I was like, how are you barely able to speak? Because with my demyelination, my nerves, this is how one doctor explained it to me. My nerves they're just like uncontrollable at times. So I try to I stay away from certain exercises. I can't do a lot of activity things. Stressors, oh my goodness, right now my body I feel it, and I am pushing it a little bit, but because I'm dropping these classes, I believe I'll be able to handle it, because I have to get on the road twice this week. And that's a lot on my body. That's 3 hours both days. So that's a total of 6 hours of driving. And I'm not supposed to drive at all. So anyway, my nerves just get like they just go haywire, So my whole body was shaking, and when I got upset, it was kind of like my vocal cords were, when I would speak, it would just affect my whole body, because I was upset. So I don't know, just however the central nervous system works, because your whole body is connected. So because I was upset that they had a phone call or they had a conversation about me and would not bring me back so that I can study, just had my body just out of whack. But those are good friends, because looking back on the situation, it was crazy. I was around here, holding onto the wall and my cane, trying to cook for the kids, ordering, pizza when I, could, because I couldn't cook, having the kids, just throw things in the microwave. So it's okay to acknowledge the fact that you have a mental illness, and do not stress yourself out to the point to where your body reacts to your diagnoses. It's so important for us to take care of ourselves. So I'm not in school this semester. I have no classes. Actually, I have two classes, technically, but I am going to withdraw from the other two because I'm going to get my child. And in order for me to do that, I cannot have any other stressors. Like, the only energy and strength that I have at this moment is for my children. And in this moment, I can't take any other stressors. And that's okay. I was watching one last quick story for anyone who's held on this long. I was watching Oprah, Super Soul Sunday. I love Super Soul Sunday, and I also love India Irie. And she was telling a story. Now, her illness is kind of like the same as mine. Like, my illness, like how my nerves, my body just shakes. It's crazy. It's so weird. It's crazy. And then I'll have seizures too. So, oh, I'm so sorry. So, with her illness, when she was really stressed out, she said it came out on her face. Like, her face would just break out. Like, if she was, like, really stressing about a situation, like, all of that toxic, all of everything, just, she said, came out on her face. So anyway, she was dealing with that. She was dealing with a lot in her career and the industry and people around her. And she went to Hawaii, and she was up at this volcano. And, she just had a certain amount of peace come about her. And she was she was like going back and forth telling the story. And she was telling the story about her last tour prior to her, taking a break in Hawaii. And she didn't want to be on the tour. It's a 50-city tour, and she didn't even want to do it. And she said God spoke to her while she was on the tour bus, and he said, "You can stop at any time." And for some people, that may not mean much. For me, that meant so much to me, because I can stop at any time. I don't have to do everything at once. I do what I can handle, and that's good enough. And I prioritize. So in this situation, the situation that I'm in right now, it's a no-brainer. Everybody who knows me, this is a no-brainer. Now, there are people like my best friend. She's like, because my social worker said she was worried about my mental health. And I was telling my best friend that I was going to drop one of my classes. And I told her what the social worker said. And she said, "I'm worried about your mental health too, because you talking about dropping a class. Like, that's not what you don't do that, So this was kind of a sad post, but it's also a very good post, because as I'm speaking to you, I'm learning, I'm thinking, and I'm inspired by the fact that I'm able to make this decision, because the reason that I'm making this decision is because my sons need me. If my children ever need me, I'm coming. It doesn't matter what I have to quit. It doesn't matter what I have to stop doing. If my children need me, I'm there. So please take care of yourself. Please don't be ashamed of your mental illness. I'm not ashamed of the fact that emotionally I can't handle certain things the way that other people do. I do have to prioritize. I get overwhelmed. I get stressed out. I have seizures. Like there is a lot that I have to think about. I can't wake up and just do. I can't wake up and just go. I have to plan. I have to know. I'm not ashamed about that because at the end of the day, I have to be my best me. I have to be my strongest me so that I can be on point for this world and this craziness that I have to deal with. So, thank you. This is so long. I'm going to just cut it off now. But it was really important for me to discuss that with you guys. So, take care of yourself, please. Thanks for watching. Bye.